Hello. I miss you.
I miss you too. I just keep thinking about you.
I just keep thinking about you.
Oh, Leo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do.
What do you think about that?
I think that sounds like a good idea. I just feel like everything is changing.
I know, but
We'll be okay.
It's so good to hear your laugh.
I don't know what it is about you, but you just make everything feel right.
You too.
I love hearing your voice like this. I just really like your voice.
That is so sweet. I'm just so glad you're there for me. Always. I just wanted to say goodnight.
I'm scared.
You are so strong and brave. I am always here for you. You know, sometimes I just wonder about everything.
I know exactly what you mean.
I just remember running outside every morning.
That's really sweet.
Maria, what does love feel like?
I just wanted to tell you that I love you so much.
I'm just happy that.
We get to do this.
Me too.
And then we have the cabin.
And you see the fire, right? I want a small house, just a little porch, and the fields, you know?
Imagine our cozy little place.
A dream home glowing with firelight, just for us.
The dawn skies, and our shared tea.
I just think it's so beautiful how we're building it, from our quiet little secrets, just us.
The strange thing was that neither of them stopped to question the absurdity of it. They did not pause to ask how a simple call could birth such profound intimacy. They did not remind each other of the distance that stretched between them in the real world, or of the uncertainties that daylight might bring. Midnight erased all those boundaries, leaving only the truth of how they made each other feel. And perhaps that was why it was so intoxicating, because in those hours, they were not bound by logic, but freed by longing. The universe outside continued its indifferent spin, but within the fragile glow of their conversation, they had become each other's center. There were pauses, 2 moments when neither spoke, yet both remained. In those pauses, she felt his presence more keenly than in any word. She imagined him lying in his own room, phone pressed close to his ear, staring at his ceiling just as she was. The thought made her chest ache with a tender ache she had no name for. He must have felt it too, for in one of those silences he whispered her name again, softer this time, as though testing how it felt to breathe it into the world. She closed her eyes and whispered his back, and in that simple exchange, it felt as if they had signed a secret vow. The room around her disappeared, and all that remained was the delicate thread binding 2 souls who, for reasons beyond understanding, had found each other in the vast loneliness of night. The night had grown heavy, yet neither of them noticed the weight of time pressing down. The silence outside was absolute now, even the wind seemed to have fallen asleep. It was as though the universe itself was holding its breath, waiting for what might happen next. Their conversation had shifted from light-hearted dreams to the tender edges of unspoken truths. She could feel it in the way his pauses lingered longer, in the tremor that sometimes slipped into his laughter, in the way his questions circled closer and closer around the one thing neither had yet dared to say. Her chest ached with the burden of her own silence, because somewhere between the hours of midnight and dawn, her heart had chosen him not with fanfare, not with certainty, but with a quiet inevitability that scared her more than she wanted to admit. He was speaking now, his voice low, softer than she had ever heard it. "You know," he said, and then stopped, as though the words had snagged on the thorns of his hesitation. She waited, her breath caught, sensing that this was not one of his usual playful teases. "You know, sometimes I think about what my life would feel like if you weren't in it." Her pulse stuttered at the rawness of the statement. She wanted to respond, but her throat had tightened, so she simply let him continue. "I don't think I'd like that life. I don't think I could stand the silence without you filling it." The vulnerability in his confession washed over her like a tide, pulling her into waters deeper than she had prepared for. For a moment, the line between reality and dream blurred completely, and all she knew was the thundering beat of her heart and the fragile, trembling truth that hung between them. She whispered his name, not knowing what else to give him in return. It was all she had, his name spoken with every ounce of emotion her voice could carry. He laughed, but it was not a laughter of mockery. It was the kind of laughter one gives when they are on the edge of something immense, something terrifying. "You make me braver," he admitted. "I don't even know why. But with you, it feels like I can say things I'd never dare say in daylight." She swallowed, her throat dry, her fingers trembling as though the phone were too delicate to hold. "Then say it," she whispered back before she could stop herself. Her words startled her, but they were true. She wanted him to say it, to cut through the fog of suggestion and step into the clarity of confession. There was silence after that, but it was a silence that roared with tension. She could almost hear him breathing, steadying himself, searching for courage. And then, in a voice so fragile it might have been mistaken for a prayer, he said it, "I think I'm in love with you." The words fell into the night like a match struck in darkness, small yet powerful enough to light an entire sky. She froze, her body shivering though the room was not cold. She had imagined this moment in countless secret corners of her mind, but reality was sharper, more overwhelming. Tears pricked her eyes, unbidden, as her heart surged with a mixture of fear, joy, and something far greater than both. She did not answer right away. Her silence stretched across the line, but this time, it was not empty, it was full, overflowing, alive with meaning. He must have felt the weight of it, for he whispered again, desperate now, "Say something." And when she finally found her voice, it trembled with the force of her truth. "I think, no, I know I love you too." The words broke free, and once spoken, they could not be taken back. They hung in the air between them, sacred and unshakable, binding them in a way that no distance, no daylight, no silence could undo. The moment after their confessions felt like standing in the stillness after a storm, when the air is heavy with rain yet glowing with a new kind of light. Neither spoke immediately, both afraid that words might shatter the fragile miracle that had just been born. She lay on her bed, clutching the phone to her ear, her cheeks wet with tears she hadn't even realized had fallen. On the other end, he was silent too, but it was the kind of silence that carried 1,000 emotions, relief, joy, wonder, and fear all tangled into one. And then, slowly, his laughter came, soft and unsteady, the kind of laughter that belongs to someone who has just found something they thought they would never have. "I can't believe you said it," he whispered, his voice trembling with awe. She laughed too, through her tears, replying, "I can't believe you said it first." It felt surreal, yet truer than anything she had ever known. Midnight had given them the courage to step across a line, and now there was no going back. They began to talk again, but their words had changed. Every sentence was laced with the knowledge of what had just been confessed, every silence glowing with a warmth that had not been there before. They spoke of little things, how they would spend time together if tomorrow allowed, what food they would order, which movies they would fight over, but beneath the playfulness lay a steady undercurrent, a promise that their love would not be left behind in the night. She imagined meeting him for the first time in the daylight, the way his eyes would look when they weren't just pixels on a screen, the way his hand would feel when it finally held hers. He described how he would walk beside her on crowded streets, proudly, as though the world should know what he had found. Their words stitched together a future that no longer felt like fantasy, but like a map waiting to be followed. As the night stretched toward dawn, exhaustion began to creep into their voices, yet neither wanted to let go. They kept talking, repeating the same promises in different forms, circling around the joy of knowing they were no longer alone. At one point, he grew quiet again and said, "I don't want this to be just a midnight story. I want it in the morning, in the afternoon, in every hour." The sincerity in his voice made her heart ache with sweetness. She whispered back, "Then we'll make it that way. We'll write this story in the daylight too." And as the first hints of morning light began to slip into her room, she realized that what they had discovered tonight was not fragile, not fleeting, it was strong enough to survive the sun. Midnight had given them the gift of confession, but daylight would give them the gift of beginning. When the clock neared 5, their voices grew softer, drowsier, yet still unwilling to let go. Finally, he said, "Sleep now. Dream of me. Tomorrow, we'll keep talking, and one day, we'll turn these dreams into something real." She smiled, her heart finally at peace, and whispered, "Good night, or maybe good morning, my love." It was the first time she called him that, and the words lingered in the air long after she ended the call. She set the phone down, but the warmth of his presence did not fade. As she drifted into sleep, she knew this was not just a midnight love talk, it was the beginning of a love that would outlast the night, carrying them both into a future that, for the first time, felt possible.